Romanian parliament passes bill mandating Holocaust and Jewish history education in all high schools.
Here's a summary of the article.
Romania's parliament passed a law on Monday that makes Holocaust and Jewish history education mandatory in all high schools throughout the country. The school subject will be called History of the Holocaust and the Jewish People, with curricula, teaching materials and methodology developed by the Elie Wiesel National Institute for the Study of the Holocaust in Romania, in collaboration with Romania's Ministry of Education. Rabbi Pinchas Goldschmidt, Chief Rabbi of Moscow and President of the Conference of European Rabbis, welcomed the bill's passing and efforts to introduce the Holocaust and Jewish history into the education system. The law would ensure that the history and identity of Romanian Jews is being recovered, calling it a moral imperative for repairing the injustices of the dictatorial regimes that ruled Romania during the Holocaust. Members from the Federation of Jewish Communities in Romania, Association of Romanian Jews Victims of the Holocaust, United States Holocaust Museum, the Memorial de la Shoah in France, Yad Vashem, American Jewish Committee and B'nai B'rith International were also asked to be involved in developing the new school course. The prize will honor special achievements in protecting the memory of Holocaust victims, fighting antisemitism, developing Holocaust educational and research programs in Romania, promoting the history, culture and traditions of Romania's Jewish community, and presenting Jewish contributions to the evolution and modernization of Romanian society. The Romanian parliament has recently passed several bills expanding financial support for Holocaust survivors in the country and promotes the opening of the National Museum of Jewish History and the Holocaust in Romania, which will reportedly take a few years to establish.
This post received a score of 13,000, with an upvote ratio of 96%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
A couple months ago, I was in Munich and visited the Dachau camp. Our tour guide was telling us about how a survivor was speaking to a group of students shortly after the end of World War II and said, "You are not responsible for what happened. You were far too young. But it is your responsibility to make sure it never happens again. Preventing another Holocaust starts with educating people on what happened. This is why schools still need to teach it. This is why Germany has preserved the camps and opened them up to the world to see what took place. Good for Romania."
Exactly, well said. If history is not learned, it will repeat itself. Simple as that, mates.
That's because the way education is conducted is just a list of facts. Most grew up knowing that the Holocaust was done by German to the Jews and Nanking Massacre was done by Japanese to Chinese, etc. But most do not learn about paths leading to these atrocities, how average men and women were goose-stepped into doing the unimaginable. So most never imagine themselves doing these things and therefore are doomed to repeat it.
That's some progressive bill. Well done, Romania.
Romania has a pretty big diaspora of Jews and a very dark history during WW2. While we had good reasons to fight the Soviets, there is no excuse for the part we played in the suffering of others. We have to own up to that and do better in the future. I really do hope one day more and more Jewish, Germans and even Hungarians return to us so we can build a better future together. The ultimate FKU to both Hitler and Stalin.
All of Eastern Europe was stuck between a rock and a hard place. Just a horrific set of circumstances.
My family left Romania as Jewish refugees in the 80s. This move might not seem like much, but it really is. Great for Romania.
My Romanian grandfather was a Holocaust survivor and he passed on Thursday, so this means a lot. Mine as well. He passed a couple years ago, but his sister is still alive and I just spent an afternoon with her in Jerusalem hearing the whole story of their time in the ghettos and eventually getting to Israel, only to be detained by the British and thrown in internment camps in Cyprus. Do you know what part of Romania he was from?
Watch Hungary be mad about this.
This article was originally published 11 days ago and may contain out-of-date information. The original publication date was November 19, 2021. As per our World News Wiki, submissions should be to articles published within the last week. This bot finds outdated articles. It's impossible to be 100% accurate on every site, and with differences in time zones and date formats this may be a little off. Send me a message if you notice an error or would like this bot added to your subreddit. Send feedback, GitHub, bot, GitHub, Chrome extension.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.